Peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. As always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black conscious family, hotep. And to my people in the streets, what's good to you. And to our enemies who are always snooping around and trying to cause dissension and division amongst the people who are trying to raise up from the dead. You're welcome on this platform too, but whoever you're reporting to and going back to, I want you to let them know that there's a black man on the scene that's not here partying, goofing off, buffooning, and clowning, but he is here to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. And we believe that this message and this movement is God sent. So I greet everyone in words of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace unto you. So again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Tonight's message is entitled The Analysis of the Documentary Surviving R. Kelly, which has been on the last 3 nights. 6-hour documentary talking about the abuse, exploitation, rape, and child pornography accusations of R. Kelly. Before we get into that, we have a new feature with the Hour of Power tonight. You can actually call in as I'm doing this talk. The call-in number is 984-329-2444. You can actually call in. The call-in number is 984-329-2444 if you have any questions, comments, or statements. Now, I don't do no debating. I don't debate. That don't mean you can't disagree with me, but I don't do no debating and arguing, because everything on here is going to be fact-based. You may not like the flavor of it, but it's all going to be, the foundation of everything I'm saying is going to be based on facts, just like anything else that I do. So again, the call-in number is 984-329-2444 if you have any questions, comments, or statements about this deep topic. Viewer discretion is advised. I don't know what I might say, but again, whatever I say, it's going to be relevant to the topic and it's going to be based in truth. All right. So if there's anything going on in the community that you want to share so I can share it, inbox it to me and I'll be glad to share it. Also, you can hit the share button as I'm speaking now, and at the bottom of the screen, you will see an option called Watch Party. That will invite other people to come in to hear this timely message. So again, as I'm speaking now, you can hit the share button, and at the bottom of the screen, you'll see several options. You can hit Watch Party, and then that will invite other people in to hear this timely message. Okay. So on February the 16th, the Hour of Power will be hosting a return trip to the Blacks and Wax Museum. This is going to be epic and historic. So Saturday, February the 16th, 2019, the Hour of Power will be hosting a return trip to the Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. 1601 East North Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland. We're asking that everyone arrive at 12 p.m. sharp so we can all go in at the same time, and I can attempt to get us a group rate. The cost to get in is between $10 and $15. I'm going to do the best I can to get us the cheapest rate to get in. This is supposed to be a 6-city participation with this field trip, so to speak. And that, again, and it's called the crowning moment of Black History Month. The crowning moment of Black History Month. So again, Saturday, February the 16th, 1601 East North Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland, we are planning a return trip to the Blacks and Wax Museum during Black History Month, the crowning moment of Black History Month, to learn about our history. Bring your youth, bring your family, whoever. And 6 cities are supposed to participate in this epic trip. Durham, North Carolina, where I just moved from, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Lancaster, York, and of course Baltimore. So again, one more time, Saturday, February 16th, 1601 East North Avenue at the Blacks and Wax Museum. Please arrive at 12 p.m. sharp, and we are supposed to have catered food there, catered by the Grub Factory, which is a delicious restaurant down there in Baltimore. February 16th, the grand return to the Blacks and Wax Museum, the crowning moment of Black History Month. Any other thing going on in the community, inbox or text me, and we'll try to share it. And again, hit the share button and then hit watch party, and that will invite others to engage and hear this timely message. But either way, it will be on replay. And then again, the call-in number is 984-329-2444 if you have any questions, comments, or statements. But again, we don't do no debating. Now, starting the other night, but on Lifetime Channel, they did the controversial and much anticipated Surviving R. Kelly documentary. It started Thursday night, which was January the 3rd, and it was a 2-part series each night. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, about the accusations of R. Kelly, child abuse, domestic violence, stalking, exploitation, the whole nine, about this man, what he's been doing supposedly for the last 20 plus years. It was very shocking and eye-opening to me, and I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot of information about what we've been hearing over the last 20 plus years. And I don't have any notes about what I viewed. That's not how I do things. That's not how the Hour of Power relays information. I just speak from the heart. But whatever I speak on, again, it's based in truth. So again, the call-in number 984-329-2444. What stood out to me with this documentary is, I believe our sister, and it's been so many people on Facebook, giving their views and, their opinions. And I believe my good sister, and I hope she tunes in, Janae Green, she had said what was going on with him the last 15, 20 some years, it just kind of flew over her head. She really didn't pay a real close attention to it. I hope I'm quoting my sister right. But her quote with that was kind of the same with me. It kind of flew over my head. I heard it, what was going on with him, but a lot of the details of it, I just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. So what stuck out to me was the physical abuse and the domestic violence that was going on with R. Kelly. You had several sisters. The one sister, I think her name was Javonda Cunningham. She was one of his first lead singers. And going towards the end, a young sister who was only 16 years old, her name was Gervonda Pace. And she talked about how one time she was in his house and they were watching a basketball game, and he's a avid Chicago Bulls fan. And she said that for some reason she was rooting for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was like a playoff game. And he said, no, you're not to root for them. You're to root for the Chicago Bulls. And she said, well, I don't like the Bulls. I like, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And she said he backhanded her. I was like, wow, I heard about the accusations of him sleeping with young girls and stalking young girls, but the abuse, it was a consistent, story of many different females saying how he was just very physically abusive. And with me being a therapist and studying these things, I don't know why that would fly over my head about the physical abuse and the connection with physical and sexual abuse. Of course there's a connection, but I guess us giving R. Kelly a pass, so to speak, back in those days when these things first came up, I sort of gave him a pass that he was just into young girls. But the physical abuse and the brutality, I didn't know it was to that level. I just didn't. So Javonda Cunningham, one of his lead singers, she is really one of the first ones to kind of put it on blast what he was doing. She said that, he solicited her, brought her to his studio, and right in front of her and other underage girls, he was having sex with Aaliyah, who we know he married at a young age. She was only like 14 or 15. That's been out there. And he would have sex with her and other females right in front of them. The seasoning process, as I would call it, seasoning them and getting them ready and priming them for the kill, as we know, is sexual abuse. That was very telling. The one producer named Craig Williams, he was one of his music producers, so to speak. His testimony or his account of what he saw, saying he knew R. Kelly was going by his former high school, which is Kenneth High School there in Chicago, said he would regularly go to this school to scope out and stalk to get future victims at the high school. He said he saw it for himself. He saw him doing this. That was very telling. I remember hearing in York, at York High, where I used to go to school, and it would be dudes coming by the school well after they were out of high school, still scoping out and living out this life as if they were still in school. The music teacher, and anyone, again, you can call in, leave messages. The call-in number is 984-329-2444. I forget the music teacher's name. She was a very elderly sister. But she said when R. Kelly was still in high school that he was very provocative, even in music class. She said she knew that he had a talent for music, but even in music class, she would have to correct him and redirect him because he was very sexually provocative, even in music class in high school. That was very telling. You could see the developing stages of a monster as we know it now. I don't think it's hearsay. I believe It's just factual that this man is a monster. But these are some of the things that I'm pointing out that I noticed in the documentary about this music teacher, saying how even when he was still in high school, again, this is R. Kelly's music teacher. If anyone has her name, just send it in. And she talked about how sexually provocative and explicit he was even in high school. Backing up, a brother, I believe it was Tavis Smiley. As we know, he used to be a analyst, not an analyst. He used to work for BET, and he did an interview with R. Kelly years ago. And R. Kelly talked about how he was sexually abused in his youth. He said by family members. This is a reoccurring theme. And I believe someone even sent me a link saying that one of the people who sexually abused him was his own sister, someone by the name of Teresa. I don't know, if that's true or not, but by his own admission, he admitted that he was sexually abused by family members. Doesn't give him no excuse or pass for what he did. None at all. So that was very telling. I didn't know that. Though these are some facts and some, different pointers that I learned through this documentary. I had no idea about it. Yes, his brother, Carrie Kelly, basically admitted that he was sexually abused, meaning Carrie Kelly, the brother of R. Kelly, and he backed up R. Kelly's statement that, yes, he was sexually abused. So those are some facts that he shared that I didn't even know. But it's not surprising. Many people who do the things that he do, they were victims themselves. And then they in turn either become very abusive or become sexual predators themselves. I didn't know that the young girl that he supposedly was in this video in was Sparkle's niece. Sparkle, who he helped put on the map and produce music with. I didn't know the infamous sex tape, which I never watched and I don't want to watch it. I didn't know that that was Sparkle's niece. Of course, we know now that, the sex tape, it was a 14-year-old girl. I knew that, an underage girl. But I didn't know that that 14-year-old girl was, in fact, Sparkle's niece. And Sparkle is very apologetic and very sorry. And you could see her in the video saying, I shouldn't have never introduced him to my family. So that 14-year-old girl in that infamous sex tape was Sparkle's niece. I didn't know that. I also didn't know, and I also wondered when he went to trial, which was around 99, he went to trial. I didn't know that the main reason that he got off was Sparkle's family. They were saying that that wasn't her in the tape. I believe that was the main reason why he got off. And it took a long time for it to even come to trial. He went to trial around 1999. He didn't actually go to trial until like 2007, 2008. It just kept being delayed. And while this horrific act had took place, he's still dropping music, dropping hits in the R&B world while this trial just keeps being delayed. I didn't know that. And our sister said and probably gave her a STD. Ain't no telling. We still don't know who this sister is, I guess for confidentiality. But her own family was saying that it wasn't her in the tape. And a lot of people believe that he probably paid the family off to take this stance that it wasn't her. So that allowed him probably the green light to get off if her own mother and own uncle is saying, no, that's not her. That wasn't her. But the other girl, another person that stood out in the documentary, the 3-day documentary, was Lisa Van Allen, a very beautiful sister, a very beautiful and courageous sister. Lisa Van Allen, another girl that he stalked underage. I believe he approached her at 14 or 15. She said in her testimony, well, this isn't a trial, but in her account of what happened is that he brought her to the studio, had her doing all kind of sick stuff, and had her several times participating in threesomes. And one of the threesomes that he had her participating in was this young girl in this tape. She said before that they were participating in threesomes, and she said he was always recording these sexual encounters, which was really rape because they're underage girls, at this studio. She said she knows it was her because she's had sexual encounters with her several times. Many times she was crying because she just didn't want to do it, but she didn't want to disappoint him, and he was physically abusive to her, meaning Lisa Van Allen. And she said that they participated in a threesome, and she witnessed him urinating on this 14-year-old girl, and not just urinating on her, urinated directly in her mouth. Viewer discretion is advised. I put that on the caption. She said one day when he wasn't paying attention, she said she didn't want her name out there like that and knew that he was always videotaping these sick sexual encounters with several underage girls as young as 12 and 13 years old. Lisa Van Allen said that one day when he wasn't paying attention, she went into R. Kelly's bag and saw oodles of sex tapes of recorded sexual encounters, if you want to call it that, with her and other girls. She found this tape with her and this underage girl who was 14, which we know now is Sparkle's niece. They showed pictures with R. Kelly and this underage girl. Man, it looked like beyond a child. It looked like almost him taking a picture with, well, we know she's 14, but when you see the picture on this documentary, he's 6 feet tall. She's just a child. And he's taking pictures with her. And this is the same person that he had sexual encounters with. You can't even call it sexual encounters. It's rape. And this is the same girl that he urinated on. And urinated in her mouth. What do you get out of that? I mean, this was a baby. This is a baby, and it was Sparkle's niece. She said she gave the girl oral sex, and the girl gave her oral sex. She knows every corner of her body because she had that close encounter with her several times. Knew her hairstyle. She said without a doubt, the same tape that went all throughout the country, you can actually view this sick stuff. She said without a doubt it was R. Kelly. Without a doubt. Through the documentary, Sparkle, which was one of the girls he produced, not a girl, she's a grown woman. Sparkle says without a doubt that was her niece. Without a doubt that was her niece. This man, if you want to call him that, in turn blames R. Kelly. Not R. Kelly, Carrie Kelly, his brother. He said it wasn't me in the tape. It was my brother, Carrie Kelly. Man, this man is beyond sick. How does he get in the mix? Carrie Kelly, his brother, said absolutely not. It wasn't me. That's him. But because the family, which many believe was paid off, the mother, brothers, uncles said, no, that's not her. So we believe that's how he got off of that charge. And then after that, after he was cleared around 2009 of that charge, he was right back at it with the Trapped in the Closet, the Chocolate Factory, and whatever other albums he came out with. He was right back at it again. A young lady by the name of Geronda Pace said that she was at his trial and he picked her out. So he was walking into the courtroom there in Chicago and he picked her out and said, yeah, I noticed you and I appreciate your support. And she's the same one that says she went to his mansion and basically had her there as a sex slave. Again, you can call in 984-329-2444. And then the account by his beautiful former estranged wife, Andrea Kelly. Man, my heart is still bleeding and hurting. There is no reason for me to believe that her account isn't accurate. She said that she was in the house and she was just like a slave there. Had to ask to go to the bathroom. She had 3 children by this man. 3 children. And for years and years, she had to endure his sexual abuse, physical abuse, and mental enslavement. His wife, Andrea Kelly, and had 3 children by this man. She said when the sex tape scandal came out that he just packed her up and shipped her off to Florida. Didn't even know where she was going. She said she was under so much stress that she went out on a ledge and was just ready to jump over and just end. I didn't know these things. I thought he was just some kind of freak that liked young girls. The physical abuse, starving girls for 3 days. Sir, starving girls for 3 days if they didn't do what he wanted or if they misbehave. But I guess he would use that kind of language because he was dealing with children. That's what kind of language and vernacular that you use with children, with your own children. If you misbehave, you're going in timeout. You don't use that kind of language in exchange of words with an adult. That's because he wasn't talking and dealing with adults. He was dealing with children. So by their own account, they said if they misbehave, if they didn't ask to go to the bathroom, or if other people was in the house, they didn't get permission to talk to them, they were misbehaving and he would starve them for 3 days. Wouldn't give them water. He didn't let them use the phone anyway. This is a sick bastard. Beyond sick. I already knew he was sick, but he is beyond sick. And the stories went on and on how he had one sister, the mother, was in Los Angeles trying to get her daughter. I forget what that sister's name is. One of them was named Dominique. And he had her hostage for several weeks, if not longer. And then there was another young sister who he stalked. And the mother called him on the phone and said, you better leave my daughter alone. And she went to the hotel several times to try to get her daughter. Man, this man is beyond sick. I never knew it was to this level with this man. But it's been going on, and I just want to clear some things up. I've been seeing, and people are entitled to their opinion and their view on this situation. I've been seeing people say, this is a distraction, meaning this whole R. Kelly thing. This is a distraction. No, it's not a distraction. Not in my humble opinion. You want to know why? You want to know why it's not a distraction? The sexual abuse, rape, and molestation of our people in this country has been going on ever since we stepped foot on the shores of North America. Ever since we came here to North America, we've been sexually abused, raped, and exploited by America, and we have picked up where they have left off. So it's not a distraction. For too many years, the sexual abuse and rape of our people has been swept under the rug. So if it takes the documentary of Surviving R. Kelly to bring awareness to such a serious, detrimental topic as the sexual abuse and rape of our people, well, so be it. It's not a distraction. Man, the hell with the government shutdown. We talking about the future and the well-being of our people. Is that an important topic? Yes, it is. But guess what? The American government has been doing what they want to do, and we ain't had no say in it, and they're going to keep on doing what they want to do. None of y'all, including me, has any authority or leverage to do anything about what Donald Trump or anyone else is doing. We don't got no say in it. Because if we did, we would say, hold up, man. You ain't going to be messing with my money or my taxes. That's going to stop right now. So let's stop it. Let's stop it. Do I want my taxes? Of course I do. But we don't got no say in what goes on in government affairs. None. But let me tell you what we do have say in. We do have say in who comes in contact with our children. We can change that. We can do something about that. We do have say in. Viewer discretion is advised, because I'm getting real damn upset right now. Viewer discretion is advised. We do have say in if you bring a man into your house and you don't know what he's into, and then you got grown girls or underage girls or boys who are depending on you for their protection and well-being, and you just let a monster into your house to ravage your boys and your girls, particularly girls. You got say in that. We got say in that. You have say in, you can do something about if you know Uncle Fester, Uncle Leroy, your brother, your husband, your dad, or whoever has been sexually ravaging the whole damn family, and you either don't got the backbone or the testicular fortitude to stop him or approach him or her, when your daughter has came to you and says, he did this to me. He did this to me. And instead of persecuting the perpetrator, you persecute the victim. That's what's going on. We have say in that. Again, we don't got no say in no damn government shutdown. So this is not a distraction. Because for too many years, sexual abuse, rape, and molestation in the black community has been swept under the rug. It was just in the newspaper a couple weeks ago about one of our youth in a school who was sexually abused and exploited by a York City employee at a school, 13 years old, in a life skills development class, a 36-year-old teacher having sexual relations with her, raping her, and no one ain't talking about it no more but the hour of power. If I'm wrong, correct me. We the only ones, mainly me, that's been talking about it. What happened to that? These are some of the things that we got control over. So this isn't no distraction. Been swept under the rug. And almost all of us, black and brown, we got someone in our family, including ourselves, who has been sexually abused, raped, or someone in our family that is the perpetrator of it, or a combination of the both. All of us got someone in our family who has been sexually abused or raped, including ourselves, or got a family member who's damn ravaging the whole community. And it's absolutely destroying our community. You just saw it. You just saw a documentary about it. It's not a distraction. If this issue light has been shined on it and awareness has been brought about it via R. Kelly, so be it. It's not a distraction. Another thing, of course it's other people who's doing this. Of course, Harvey Weinstein, the movie producer or whatever he is, he's a sexual predator. They just locked up Bill Cosby. It's a billionaire out there. I forget, my brother sent me, thank you, Brother Angelo, if you out there from Greensboro, North Carolina, a billionaire having sex parties with youth. The hip hop culture. They said Elvis Presley married his wife. She was only 13. And Woody Allen married his adopted daughter. She was 18. And all kind of freaks running around in sports and entertainment. All kinds. But we're talking about R. Kelly. Okay? Again, the call-in number is 984-329-2444. Of course, there's all kind of R. Kelly. So this goes way beyond R. Kelly. The thing is, it's all kind of R. Kellys running around in our family that a lot of us have been I'm a victim of sexual abuse. Yeah. But I've dealt with my pain. I've dealt with what I went through, and I certainly ain't no sexual abuser. No. Any child is safe around me. When I was coming up, way before the going to a daycare facility, when I was coming up, people in the community used to watch you. You would go to people's house. It was this lady. I'm not going to say her name because of confidentiality. She was a wonderful lady. She provided a great service in the community, meaning daycare. There wasn't no daycare facilities all like that when I was coming up. All the people in the community went to her house. But what she didn't know was her own son was a sexual predator at this house I used to go to. He was a sexual predator. I witnessed him with my own eyes sexually abuse damn near all the girls that was coming through that daycare, including his own female cousins. One time, he told me to come upstairs. And I'm making it clear, he never physically did anything to me, but he traumatized me. He told me to come upstairs. And I saw him forcing his own cousin. He was way older than us. He had to at least be 17, 18 years old. I was probably only 8 or 9 years old at the most. And his cousin was the same age. I saw him forcing his little cousin, giving him oral sex. And he always wanted me to watch. And then other female cousins that would come through this daycare, but they were family members. He'd be fingering them and doing all kind of freaky stuff with them. Always wanted me to watch. I sat and watched this stuff time and time again. So someone might say, well, Brother Sharif, are you sure he didn't do nothing to you? Physically, he didn't. You want to know why he didn't? At that time, my dad, Sidney Howard, may he rest in peace. Man, salute to you, sir. At that time, my dad was in the Nation of Islam. Need I say any more? Man, we got a reputation. And one of it is, if you mess with our women or our children, we will kill you. We will kill you. That is a good way to sign your own death certificate. So, because of the presence of my father, I believe he was scared or intimidated to put his hands on me. So my dad protected me and he didn't even know it. But the damage was still done. I still witnessed sexual abuse. So see, these are some of the things that we can control. Ain't nothing we can do about no damn government shutdown but complain. So it's not a distraction. It's not a distraction. It's been swept under the rug and overlooked for way too long. So it's not a distraction. And if it comes via R. Kelly, it is what it is. We know other people are involved. We know that. We know that. But R. Kelly is the scapegoat, so to speak. But out of all the things in that 6-hour documentary that went on, you know what was the most disturbing for me? It wasn't so much R. Kelly. We been knew this man was a freak. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tie it in. I went to school for criminal justice. That's my undergrad. I had to write several papers on a legal term, follow me on this, called aiding and abetting. I think y'all know where I'm going with this. Hopefully you do. This is a legal term. It's very hard to prove. In the legal system, they apply it when they feel like it. It's a legal term, and I'm going to read you their definition. This is what the hour of power does. We don't come with no weak body information that we can't prove. We give you unadulterated truth that we can prove with no limit or time. Dark places. No, I'm speaking the truth. Aiding and abetting. This is what aiding and abetting, and I want you to tie this to this R. Kelly and his accomplices in a crime. Aiding and abetting is a legal doctrine related to guilt of someone who aids or abets in the commission of a crime. It exists in a number of different countries and generally allows a court to pronounce someone guilty or aiding and abetting in a crime even if they are not the principal offender. Hear me on this. In the U.S., whoever commits an offense by aiding, abetting, counseling, commanding, inducing, procuring, its commission is punishable as a principal offender. Aiding and abetting. I'm going to read this again. Please share this message. I know it's a little rough, but I ain't the one doing this crazy stuff. I'm just bold enough to speak about it. Aiding and abetting. One more time. This is a crime in many different countries. Aiding and abetting is a legal doctrine related to guilt of someone who aids or abets in the commission of a crime. Sexual abuse and raping underage girls is a crime. Having sex, depending which state you're in, with an underage girl, some states it's 16, some states it's 15, some states it's 14. These were 14 and 12-year-old girls he was doing this with. So it was a crime. It was a crime in Chicago. Anyone who aids or abets in the commission of a crime, it exists in a number of different countries, generally allows a court to pronounce someone guilty by aiding and abetting in a crime, even if they're not the principal offender. Meaning, say you rob a bank. Joe robs a bank. But Jim laid out the blueprint on how to rob the bank. He told him when the best time is to rob a bank. He told him the best gun to get, how to rob the bank, the best mask to use. Man, Jim, you just as guilty according to aiding and abetting. Follow me. In the U.S., whoever commits an offense by aiding, abetting, counseling, which means giving advice, commands, induces, procures, its commission is punishable as a principal offender. Aiding and abetting. It's a crime. It is a crime. So what disturbed me the most about this whole documentary is the goddamn no good fucking Negroes who helped this monster assault these girls. They are the devil. They are the devil. And then Lifetime protects them. We can't even, they could walk by any of us right now and we don't even know who they are. So once again, protecting the perpetrator and persecuting the victim. Protecting the perpetrator and persecuting the victim. He had a whole team of people helping him scope out people. Not people, young girls, our sisters. I ain't seen no white girls in this. Ain't no white people. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it. It's the first time they'd have found out one of their girls was being a victim of this. It would have been lights out. All black and Latino girls. Actually helping this demon scope girls out at this Kenneth High School and wherever else. Bring them back to his dungeon and watching him sexually abuse and ravage little girls. But they get protected. They get protected. But Lifetime, I know you gotta do your thing to make your ratings and all that. That is what was most disturbing to me. The help that he had. Or the legal term, aiding and abetting. Grown men. They probably got children and girls of their own. Aiding and abetting the rape and destruction of our little princesses. From the time he started, probably all the way up to now. Aiding and abetting. It's a crime. Why aren't all these people who were on Lifetime who admitted that they helped him stalk these girls, bring them back to the dungeon, watch him have illicit sexual activity with these girls? They admitted it. They admitted it on Lifetime. They admitted it. But yet, no charges for aiding and abetting has been filed. Have you even heard of this? Did you even know that this is a crime? I went to school for this. I wrote several papers on it. Didn't really pay it attention. But we know this. We tell our children all the time. If you go to the store with little Johnny, and even if you're outside, and little Johnny steals a candy bar, you're going to get in trouble too. Most of us give this little scenario to our children. It's called aiding and abetting. It's an actual crime. It's a crime. It's a crime. But yet, Lifetime covers them up. Don't give us their identity. We couldn't roll up on them if we wanted to. We have no idea who they are unless you was in R. Kelly's circle. We have no idea who they are. I'm going to read it again. Aiding and abetting, a legal doctrine related to guilt of someone who aids or abets in the commission of a crime. It exists in a number of different countries. Generally allows the court to pronounce someone guilty of aiding and abetting in a crime, even if they're not the principal offender. In the U.S., whoever commits an offense, child rape and abuse and statutory rape is a crime. You don't got to be no criminologist to know that. In the U.S., whoever commits an offense by aiding, abetting, counseling, commanding, inducing, or procuring its commission is punishable as a principal offender. How come these people aren't being brought up on aiding and abetting? And they're telling you that you don't have to be the one peeing on a 14-year-old girl. You don't have to be the one having sex or raping a 14-year-old girl. If you have anything to do, aiding and abetting as they call it, you can be charged as a principal offender as if you did it. But yet, No charge. Matter of fact, they're being protected. They are being protected. But guess what? The same thing is going on in our community. Hence is why this is not a distraction. The light and awareness is being shined on something that's been swept under the rug and still being swept under the rug for too long. All of us got some child molesting family member probably in our family, and many of us have been sexually abused. Brothers too. Y'all just don't want to admit it. Too manly. Too manly. The society has taught you to suppress your feelings and your trauma. So you suppress it, but it comes out somehow. Abusing other women or becoming an abuser yourself. I don't see anyone calling in. 984-329-2444. You can actually call in on the Hour of Power now. Any questions or statements? Man, we should be talking about this clown in the past tense. R. Kelly used to. He had some nice songs. All past tense. Man, he should be gone. But we have gotten into this thing of protecting the abuser and persecuting the victim. Man, I just talked to a sister today. It's confidential. Just talked to her today, and she told me about how she was sexually abused when she was 4 or 5 years old. Just talked to her today over lunch. How her parents would leave her with a teenage boy in the community, and he'd be feeling and fingering and fondling all over her. And then again at 11 years old, a family member, wasn't really a family member, someone who was supposed to be like an uncle, and he attempted to rape her and her sister. When she told her mother and other family members, they just swept it under the rug and said, well, he wasn't feeling good at the time. And then was forced to refer to him as an uncle. Man, this stuff goes on all the time. Swept under the rug. Don't tell me this is a distraction. This Negro should be gone. His blood should be streaming down the streets of Chicago into a gutter. This R. Kelly. His blood should be streaming down the streets into the gutter of Chicago with the other garbage that he is. He should be gone. Oh, what kind of talk is that? It's Bible talk. Did you know that? How come preachers and imams ain't talking about the sexual abuse in the black community? I'll wait. If they are, please let me know. Now, I heard from a brother, he came here years ago, named Dr. Kawanza Kunjufu. He's a child psychologist, way before Dr. Umar. He's like the old school version of Dr. Umar. He is a nationally known child psychologist, Dr. Kawanza Kunjufu. And he laid it out there, and it's no rocket science, that 60 to 70% of black churches are populated by black women. I bet you most of them black women are victims of sexual abuse. I bet you. Why do you think they be doing all that crying and stuff in there? They're hurting. But to my knowledge, what black pastors are speaking about the sexual abuse and rape of black women in our community, in our country? I'll wait. Why aren't they talking on this? Why aren't they speaking on this? And the Muslims are no better. How come the imams in America aren't speaking on the sexual abuse and the rape of black women and children in our community? Are you sexually abusing and trying to sleep with the sisters and the children? Do you got sexual abusers in your family and that's why you won't speak on it? You're supposed to be freeing people. You're supposed to be easing their pain. How come the pastors ain't speaking on this? And again, I'm up for correction. If they are, I want to know their name and send me the link and I'll correct myself. Someone's calling in. Hour of Power.
Yes, I just wanted to see if I could make a comment about the conversation.
Sure. State your name if you don't mind, and where you calling from.
Okay, hold on, I couldn't hear you. Say it again?
I said, can you state your name and where you're calling from?
Yes, this is Daniela Gabrielle from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, how you doing, Queen?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. What you have for us, Queen?
And so I think the thing that I wanted to say was that I really appreciated the conversation that you had about the fact that this is not a distraction, but it's a disruption. We've got to disrupt the patterns in which we've been going from year to year for generations. This culture is not new. And I'm originally from YC, and I know there are other people who are watching that up from York, Pennsylvania as well. It was a culture that was almost normalized, that comes out of high school, you had 20, 25-year-olds, 30-year-old men picking up girlfriends, waiting at the basketball court. And I think that, it almost was normalized. And so when R. Kelly's music began to come out, it was a soundtrack for what was happening in the world around us. And the difference between R. Kelly and some of the people in our communities, whether we're in York, Atlanta, wherever we are, is the simple fact that he had money. And so he could amplify it. But I just feel like right now is the time that this is a disruption and not a distraction. And if we treat it like a distraction, we're not going to get what is intended for it to do, which is to bring attention and to bring people to a place where they are now opening up about rape culture, about sexual abuse, really having conversations. We should be having conversations with our children right now. We should be having conversations, making them comfortable to talk about if they've had sexual abuse. We should be creating hotlines with people who are educated and trained on healing sexual abuse. We should have systems that we're working on getting in place to persecute people who have been predators so that we can start healing this nation. And so I think that more than anything, this is a wake-up call that it's not going to be tolerated anymore. And we need every religious organization and community organization to band together, put aside differences so that we can have healthy conversations so that we can heal. So I just wanted to say shout out to you for having this conversation and taking the conversation to another level. Most people who have offered their commentary have not offered solutions, neither have they offered a safe place to dialogue. So keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Queen. We do the podcast several times a week. I have a YouTube channel called Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid. You can get it from Kia if you need it. And this is what we do. We ain't just talking. We, trying to, like you said, bring awareness to this serious, detrimental, pandemic issue that's going on in our community. And I actually have some resources, to address this issue for people, particularly our sisters. So stay tuned, and I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thanks for allowing me to give my comment.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah, so our dear sister said that it's not a distraction, it's a disruption. And it's both, but it's definitely a disruption, and we're just doing what we can to bring, awareness. And I just don't understand why pastors and imams in the mosque are not talking about this, especially in the church. 60 to 70% of churches are populated by black women. I'll bet you a good number of them have been sexually abused and raped. I'm not going to name the church. I heard one time a sister was being stalked by her boyfriend, was physically abusing her. She was coming out of Bible study, I believe. Hold on 1 second. I think I got another caller. Hour Power.
Hi, this is Catherine. Hi, Brother Sharif.
Hey, how you doing, Queen?
Good. Are we still on? Because I wanted to say a few words because you brought us some memory talking about William Penn High School and York High.
Yeah.
And I remember how the guys that would graduate and some of the guys that would drop out, they'd come back 3 or 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 or 4 years, driving past the high school, hanging out at Penn Park, stalking young girls, and everybody thought that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never remember any of the teachers, calling, authorities or going across the street and telling those guys to go away. I remember, and now I'm getting ready to make people mad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? I mean, you don't have to say, but I remember a group called Strike Force.
Yeah.
Which was like wannabe gang members, which basically they weren't really a gang. They were just a group of guys that like to prey on young girls, and especially young white girls. And so, that does bring back a lot of memories. Some of those guys in Strike Force were like 23, 24 years old.
Right.
And I remember they would come to my high school when I went to Central, stalking young girls, some of my friends, stuff like that. Yeah, so what we can do, is make sure that we talk to our boys about respecting, girls and women, teach our kids about consent and how important it is to, even if you want to give somebody a hug, you should ask permission. You should never touch anyone without their permission.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves no room for bullying, physical abuse. If you just teach our children the importance of consent. Also, teach our girls how to be, willing to talk to us. Things like that are scary. A lot of people are abused, and it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I know, speaking for myself as a survivor, it is embarrassing to talk about some of the stuff that's happened. And some of the stuff that's been happening since I was, small. You talked about family members. I don't want to bring, people's names up, but
right.
Trust me, I understand where you're coming from when you talk about that. So somehow we have to create some kind of dialogue with our children to make them feel comfortable and coming to us for help and feeling like if anyone's going to be on their side and anybody's going to be, a champion for their rights and their well-being, it's going to be us as parents. A lot of people are saying, in reference to R. Kelly's situation, where are the parents? Everybody says, where are the parents?
Mm-hmm.
I know my daughters weren't allowed to even, I lived around the corner from Mr. Lee and Parkway, and there was no way that I was going to let my daughters go to the corner store. And they were 16 years old and they weren't allowed to go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that I'm a better mother than anyone else. I'm not judging. But, I think that it's our job as parents. These kids didn't ask to be born. It's our job as parents to make sure that the kids are okay.
Right.
There's a problem if your kid is 15 and she's not coming home.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem. Where is it exactly that it's okay for her to lay her head at night?
Yeah, that's that's something that a lot of people have been and I don't know what people's thinking is, but where they're going, but a lot of people have said by watching the documentary that where was these girls' parents? They 14, 13 years old and they spending several days, if not weeks, with, I heard that he was actually paying some of the parents and the parents was pimping the children out.
So that's kind of one of my other points is, capitalism is seriously to blame for a lot of these things. Like we see parents that are willing to, for lack of a better word or description, traffic their own children to a sexual predator because he's famous and they might get money. And perhaps they're desperate. Perhaps they're living in, poverty. And but we have to value life and our children more than money.
Yeah, well,
we have to get over the how can I have more than my neighbor syndrome, so that we can pay attention to our children correctly the way that we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, people that are willing to pimp out their children, there's no saving them either. You know, they need to go down the same gutter that he needs to go down.
Right on.
You know, your children are your most valuable thing. Once your children come on the scene, you want them to live a better life than you do. Normal parents, that is. So we have parents that are doing that.
That's supposed to be an inherent instinct that we have as parents, but some people lack that for some reason. But unfortunately. But thank you for doing the show, and I'm excited that you had a call-in show today.
Thank you. This is Sister Catherine. She actually gave me the idea to set up a call-in system. So thank you for that, Queen.
Right on. Well, have a good night. Thank you for doing the show.
Thank you. So that's our sister Catherine calling in, giving and her and Sister Daniela made great points about those who are here in York. And I'm just now remembering that this strike force and whoever else coming up stalking high school girls well after they're out of high school. I mean, I remember that. I remember that kind of stuff going on. So again, there are a lot of R. Kellys out there. It ain't about him. It's about us being aware of our surroundings. Those are things that we can control right now. Not no government shutdown. Not that it's not an important issue, but if we had so much say in what goes on in the government, we wouldn't be in a predicament that we in. Ain't nothing we can do about no government shutdown. Not that I know of. Someone may say vote more and all that, but right now, going backwards and forwards, it's something we can do about the sexual abuse, rape, and molestation in our communities. We can do something about that right now. It doesn't take a vote. It don't take any of that other than us having a backbone and some heart about what's going on in our community. And like I was saying earlier, these religious communities who are not doing anything or even saying anything, man, this is, I don't understand it. It's right there in front of you, especially in the church. 60-70% of churches is populated by black women. I bet you most of them have been sexually abused or violated in some way, but yet it's not too many churches. I remember T.D. Jakes did Women Thou Aren't Loose about domestic violence, but other than that, I haven't seen or heard no follow-up. I don't hear hardly anyone touching on it. In the mosque, too, they don't say anything. Nothing. Other than Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Come on, y'all try to, say he hates white people and Jews and all that. Whatever. I've been friends with the Nation of Islam for many years. He is the only religious leader, and they are the only religious organization that has consistently spoke out and spoke up for and against sexual abuse in the black community and the treatment of black women. Oh, you're just saying that because you're a Muslim and you with them. Well, number one, I am a Muslim, but I am not a member of the Nation of Islam. No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not. But I am a Muslim. The fact is, Minister Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, and the Nation of Islam is the only religious organization that I know of that has consistently spoke up and out against sexual abuse in the black community. Man, salute to you, Minister Farrakhan, 85 years old and still going strong. And salute to all your ministers who I have very close relationships with. Minister Amon down there in Durham, North Carolina. Our brother Carlos Muhammad down there in Baltimore. Minister Rodney in Philly, and all the other brothers, Minister Nori out of Indianapolis, these brothers have consistently, and others have spoken out and against sexual abuse. I don't know of any other religious organization or any pastors in our community even saying a word about how our community is being ravaged by sexual abuse and predators. And it's in their own book. Now I'm going to finish up. Go to Genesis chapter 34. It's called The Rape of Diana. Diana is the daughter of a prophet named Jacob. Jacob was married to his first wife, Leah, right? And Diana, which was their daughter, came across some prince of a town named Shechem. Shechem raped and violated Diana, raped her. He had the audacity, and his father, Hamor, which was Shechem, the person who raped Diana, they actually went to Jacob and his wife and said, hey, we want to take your daughter Diana on as my wife. So again, Shechem raped Diana, raped her, and then had the audacity to go to Jacob, which was her father, and her mother Leah, and said, we want to take her as our daughter. So Jacob and his sons deceivingly said, okay, we'll go along with it. Went into the town of Shechem and slew the whole damn town. Killed them all. Killed them all for violating their daughter, Diana. How come pastors aren't talking about this verse that's right there in Genesis 34? Now, I've never seen nothing that directly talks about child sexual abuse and child rape, but it's very close. How do we know Diana wasn't underage? It don't really say her age. Again, go to Genesis chapter 34. A sister by the name of Diana, who was the daughter of Jacob, who we know as a prophet, and his mother, which was Jacob's first wife, Leah, was raped and violated by a prince of a town named Shechem, Shecem. And his father was Hamor. Raped this sister Diana. Hamor, who was the father, Shechem who was the son, went to Jacob to ask her hand in marriage after they raped her. Jacob and his sons, Simeon and Levi, deceivingly said, okay, we'll go along with it, to get into the town, and they slew everyone in town for the rape of Diana. How come pastors aren't talking about this passage? I'll wait. It's right there in the Bible. Right there in Genesis 34. If we had that kind of law, this stuff wouldn't be going on. Stop making your children the perpetrator. Stop treating them as the perpetrator and then protecting the victim, protecting the perpetrators who's actually committing the crime. We got it all twisted up. Persecuting the victim and protecting the perpetrator. That's what's going on in the black community. I've talked to several sisters within the last couple weeks where this is what's going on. Sisters and mothers blaming the girl. What did you do to make him do that? Number one, a girl is not old enough to make sexual decisions. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, goddamn 18, 19. They ain't old enough to make sexual decisions. Damn sick-ass bastards. Hell, when I was coming up, I wanted old head nookie. That's what I wanted. And you want a little girl? They said he was stalking 12 and 13-year-olds. This man is sick. But as many like him, this ain't about R. Kelly. It's about the many duplicates of him running around. And shame on those who was helping him. How come charges haven't been filed against those who were helping him? I just read you the law. It's called aiding and abetting. And it says, anyone who aids, abets, counsels, commands, induces, procures the commission of a crime, you're punishable as if you're the principal offender. This is still on the law book. I just wrote papers on it when I was going to school for criminal justice. But they protected them in the documentary, covered up their voice, covered. We have no idea that one of them clowns could walk right by you right now and you would have no clue who they are. What are you protecting them for? And they just aided and abetted in a crime. See how wicked these people are? They're a bunch of liars and murderers and rapists. Read your book, John 8:44. In Jesus' words, in most Bibles, his words are in red. And it says, ye, your father is the devil. You were a murderer and a killer in the beginning, and you will be a murderer and a killer in the end, and a liar. That's what it says. And it's in red, meaning it was Jesus' words. These people are liars. They put down the law when they feel like it, when it's convenient for them. You didn't see any white girls that he was taking advantage of. If it was one of them that he was taking advantage of, or aiding and abetting, he would have been locked up. And whoever else was helping him rape these black girls, if it was white girls, they would apply this law, aiding and abetting. They all would have been locked up. Seems like you're ready. Seems like who is ready? What they say? What do you say? Art imitates life? My wife is here. Yeah. Seems like you're ready. He been telling you what he's been into. Seems like who is ready? I don't see nothing wrong. You don't see what is wrong. Now we know. I don't see nothing wrong. Well, now we know clearly what you were talking about. You don't see nothing wrong with a 12 or 13-year-old. Seems like a 12 and 13-year-old is ready. Now we know clearly what you were talking about. Our dear sister Phyllis Hyman, who committed suicide years ago, may she rest in peace. She was telling us in her songs what was in her mind. Feeling all alone. Seems like I'm going through all these changes. No one paid her attention, I don't think. And now she's gone. She was telling us how she felt. And this demon been telling us what's been on his sick mind. Seems like you ready. Seems like who is ready? And for what? I don't see nothing wrong. Baby, 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 baby. He had that song, ooh, baby, 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 baby. Yeah, he was talking about seducing babies, little girls. Man is beyond sick. He's been telling us. Finishing out, anyone who's went to college, and I've talked about this before, had to take Psychology 101. One of one of the greatest psychologists or psychiatrists that we ever known was Sigmund Freud. If you went to school, no matter what your major was, one of your general ed classes had to be Psychology 101 by Sigmund Freud. He said one of the most powerful things, especially since I went to school for counseling and therapy and all that, he said one of the most powerful things I've ever heard, even though he was a demon himself, but the most honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, he said, even if the devil tells the truth, you got to give him credit. He said it's almost impossible for the human being to suppress his inner feelings, thoughts, emotions, concepts, and beliefs. He said it's too much information to suppress. In order to find out someone's inner thoughts, feelings, emotions, concepts, and beliefs, he said, just get them to talking. He said, just get them to talking, and pretty soon they will reveal all their inner feelings, thoughts, concepts, and beliefs. The only difference with him is he starts singing his inner thoughts, thoughts, concepts, and beliefs. Singing, talking, it's all about the same thing. He's been telling us that he's been a freak. And then one of his producers said when the tape came out that our sister Lisa Van Allen wanted a youth that he was sexually assaulting, and she went into his bag and got the tape of her having a threesome with the 14-year-old, the one that he peed on her and in her mouth. She got the tape and said, I didn't want to be all over the internet and all that. And then the tape went viral. Everyone had it. He said, man, he went to one of his producers. He's a devil too. If anyone can inbox me the name of the bald-headed producer, the dark-skinned dude, the one who was saying that he saw him going to the high school, his name was Craig Williams, but it was another one. I think his name was Demetrius or something like that. R. Kelly said to him, man, I just can't stop. I can't stop recording these girls. He said, I can't stop it. And he kept on doing it. So instead of him, like Sigmund Freud said, it's impossible to suppress all that information. Your inner thoughts, feelings, concepts, and beliefs. You can't suppress it all. It's going to come out. He just sung it. He just sung it. In his songs, he's been telling us, just like Phyllis Hyman tried to tell us her feelings. And then she ended up committing suicide. Seems like you ready. It ain't nothing wrong. Baby, 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 baby. On the down low, age ain't nothing but a number. Oh, really? And we cannot let these demons off the hook who allowed him. How can you watch a grown man sexually assault and abuse a child? And many of these men probably got girls or grandchildren or nieces. But because he was sliding you a couple of dollars, you threw all your morals out the back window. Man, God is watching you, and he hasn't forgot. But we don't even know who these clowns are. But you can put on all the masks you want. They can try to alter your voice. None of that is going to hide you from what God saw you do. He created those things of trying to cover. God is the author of everything. You can try to hide from us, but you did an awful, evil, wicked thing. Covering up and setting them up for the kill. These girls are damaged. Don't mean their life is over, but that's the stuff we need. It's plenty R. Kellys and it's plenty bodyguards or whatever out there covering up. They're called our family members. They're called Aunt Sally and Uncle Drew and Uncle Leroy and Uncle Fester. And some of them are actually our own mothers and grandmothers. May slap you one. What did you do to make him do that? After this little girl untold you what he undid. What did you do? What did I do? What would a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old child, what is they going to gain about telling you what someone that you brought in did to them? And you don't got the backbone to call that person to the carpet. Really, you should be calling the Undertaker. That's the next phone call you should be making. Confidentiality-wise, it ain't all of us. I had a sister give me a call, and her husband was doing some inappropriate things with her daughter, and she checked him. That's all I could say. You know who you are. I hope you get this message. Salute, salute, salute to you, Queen, for not doing what a lot of our sisters are doing. I'm going to say it again. A sister gave me a phone call just the other day that her husband was doing and acting very inappropriately with her daughter, who's supposed to be like his daughter. She said to me, because she looks at me like a brother, she said, brother, am I looking at this wrong? Am I wrong if I tell him to get to stepping? I said, do what you got to do to protect your baby. And to my knowledge, she ain't playing with this joker. He's going to be out of there. Man, salute to you, Queen. You the real MVP. You the real MVP. We know that you stand up for your young princesses and queens. If we would have half the courage that she had, maybe we can start getting somewhere and putting a dent in this problem. It's not an epidemic, it's at a pandemic level. The sexual abuse, rape, and molestation of our girls, our future. It is beyond traumatic. And some of us are protecting the perpetrator and persecuting the victim. Sick, sick, sick. No wonder we can't get anywhere. The psychological damage is beyond comprehension. Sisters can't sleep. Some of them can't sleep. Some of them can't eat. Some of them are overeating, uncontrollably crying, paranoid, not interested in sex anymore. And on and on and on. I do this for a living. And you want to protect these monsters and let them just go on with their life and keep ravaging the family. And you keep protecting them because that's your boo. As if you can't get anyone else. And you keep letting this happen, and then your daughters or your sons got to live with this. And then the religious communities, they don't want to do or say nothing about it. Don't want to do or say hardly nothing, because half of them are probably goddamn molesters. Or they just don't want to ruffle no feathers. Don't want to risk getting their government money, I guess. But yet our children, our girls are being ravaged. Man, y'all need to get some balls and speak up. Don't tell me nothing about you following Jesus. Because if Jesus was here or Muhammad was here and they even thought that any of their children were being sexually abused and exploited, just like Jacob did, just like Simeon did, and just like Levi did in Genesis chapter 34, when they found out their sister Diana was raped by this clown Shechem and his father Hamor, and they had the audacity to come to them. They agreed to these knuckleheads to take their daughter and their sister on as a wife, but it was only a trick to get into town, and they killed the whole town. Why ain't pastor speaking on that? It's right in Genesis 34. Go and read it. And they said, what made you think we was going to let you treat our sister as a harlot and a whore? They said, what made, after they slew the whole town, blood dripping off the sword. It's right there in the Bible. Jacob, his brother Simeon, and Levi said, with the blood dripping off the sword, what made you think we was going to let you treat our sister Diana like some harlot and some whore? Slew the whole town. Slew the whole town. I think I've said enough. Family, this is out of control. It's way beyond some R. Kelly. It's R. Kelly's running all around. You had two beautiful sisters call in and talk about right here in New York, and it's bringing up memories to me. Dudes, 7, 8 years out of high school, still coming trying to get some young girls. Man, I like old head Nookie. When I was coming up, wasn't no damn young girl. Kind of sick, depraved bastard are you? We got to protect our children by any means necessary. These are things that we can do right now. Right now, ain't much we can do about no government shutdown. If you can do something about it, please let me know what it is you can do so I can join on, because I want my taxes too. But right now, ain't much we can do about that. But it's something we can do about protecting our children. It's something we can do about who we say comes around our children. It's something that we can do about not letting your children just go stay and be around anyone. It's something that we can do about going to our schools and say, hey, I see you're the after school teacher or the gym teacher or the basketball or the wrestling teacher. I'm just introducing myself. It's something we can do if we feel a little lonely, mainly the sisters, and you don't even do no investigation about the man who is going to have access to your boys and your girls. It's something we can do about that. And I know men could come in your presence and you may think he's 100. Keep your eye open. It says pray as well as watch. Pray as well as watch. See, it's something we can do about that right now. It's something we can do about if unfortunately something like this does happen and your daughter or your son, mainly your daughter, comes to you and says, man, he did something to me, and you don't protect the perpetrator and persecute the victim. There's something we can do about that. And then if we really get the army straight, if we really get the army in the community straight, and if we find any of these knuckleheads violating our girls or our boys, we gonna hunt your behind down. Whether you at your mama's house, at the basketball court with your boys, on the street corner, at the club, at the bar, even in the goddamn judge's chambers, we gonna hunt your behind down and take your goddamn head off. That's what the verdict should be. And then your next stop is going to be the Undertaker, then in the ground. We take on that attitude, we won't have this problem. We will hunt your ass down. But we got these people who just want to protect the victims, protect the perpetrators, and persecute the victims because you don't want to lose your boo. You don't want to lose him. You don't want to upset him. So Uncle Fester just keeps ravaging the community and the family. I have no damn respect for any of you bastards who protect child molesters ravaging your daughters and your sons. And you want us to respect these fucking clowns. I don't got no respect for you and no respect for him. And don't goddamn ask me. Thank you for listening. I told you viewer discretion is advised. Don't let no silly, spineless Negro say, oh, he was cursing and that was so rough. It would be nothing for me to talk about if our children, including me, weren't victims of sexual abuse, rape, molestation. It would be nothing for me to talk about. Me using a cuss word means nothing compared to what has happened and what's going on. That's another diversionary tactic. And any of you punk-ass Negroes who say you with me, trying to divert the attention off to someone else. Man, just get to stepping somewhere else. This is our children's future that we talking about. Talking about my language and this is rough talk. But our children are being raped and abused and you don't even got the courage to even say anything. You a weak body. And I don't got time for it. Let me get on back to work now and mind my own business. Quote from Get Out. Grandpa and Walter knew Chris was being set up for the kill at that killing ground. Let me get on back to work now and mind my own business. That's what's going on. Yeah, you knew, you were informed that the little baby was being raped and whatever else. Let me get on back to work now and mind my own business. Shame on you. Shame on all you no good bastards that helped this monster. And you said nothing. You actually facilitated it. Harvey Weinstein and Bill O'Reilly and Bill Cosby and all the rest of you. Y'all ain't no better. But today we're talking about R. Kelly. Man, God got something for you and the rest of you. Keep tuning in to the Hour of Power. This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Pray for me and pray for our babies. Keep tuning in. We'll have an interview this Wednesday, channel 16 Local Access TV, streaming live on Facebook at 8 p.m. I leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.